السلام عليك ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Sunbul's case. In May 2012, while I was working at Lodi Welfare Clinic in New Karachi, I received a call from Salim, mentioned earlier. He said his daughter Sunbul had been ill for 3 months and was suffering from typhoid. During this time, they had changed many doctors, but nothing worked. Even specialist doctors for typhoid could not help, and her fever would not go down. The family was very worried. I gave him the clinic address, and he said he would bring the girl in the evening. That evening, as promised, he came with his wife and daughter. The girl was about 12 or 13 years old and looked quite weak. When I checked her temperature, it was 102 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius. I then performed 10 minutes of healing for the girl, after which they left. When they returned the next day, the girl's face looked fresh and healthy, and she also seemed happy. When I checked her temperature, there was no fever at all. Salim's wife said, "By Allah's grace, today the girl ate and drank something during the day, and for the first time in 3 months, she felt at peace." I did another 10 minutes of healing for the girl that day, and then they left. When they came on the 3rd day, the girl looked, by Allah's grace, as if she had never been sick. Salim's wife said that today, the girl had even bathed, and she was completely fine, thank Allah. After that, they thanked me and praised me greatly. I replied that all praise is for the one who created this entire universe and all of us. We are merely a means. Everything else is done by him. Shazia's case. When we started the Al-Sihat Welfare Clinic in North Karachi, my spiritual brother, Dr. Mirza Sarfaraz Baig, used to visit us regularly. One day, he told us about a very dear friend of his, Iqbal Bhai, who was also part of our spiritual order. He said that Iqbal Bhai was very eager to meet me because Dr. Mirza had told him a lot about our spiritual experiences and stories, and Iqbal Bhai insisted on meeting me. I happily agreed to meet him. The next evening, he came to the clinic. He was just as we had heard, very kind, cheerful, and good-hearted. Gradually, we became good friends, and most of our discussions revolved around spirituality. I told him about spiritual healing, and also trained him in it. Coincidentally, during those days, we received a case of a girl named Shazia, who was the elder sister of Nadia, mentioned earlier. Shazia's father told us that his daughter had been under the influence of a Jinn, or spirit, for about 2.5 years and was suffering greatly. I asked how this happened, and he explained that their house was in the same neighborhood, but some relatives lived a little farther away. There was a wedding at their relative's house, so they were visiting frequently. One night, between 12 and 1 o'clock, they had to return home from their relative's house. Shazia was with him. When they passed through the school ground, Shazia suddenly began to feel unwell, and after reaching home, her condition worsened. Since then, whenever she is affected, her eyes turn red. She feels as if someone has poured kerosene on her head and set it on fire. Her eyes start watering, and her whole body begins to shiver. They had sought treatment from many scholars and visited shrines, but nothing helped. He said that Shazia was currently at home and in that same state. We told him that if possible, he should bring her to us so that we could observe her condition ourselves.
After a short while, he brought Shazia to us, and her condition was exactly as described. It was afternoon and time to close the clinic, so we sent her home in that state and told her mother that in the evening, one of our students, whom we had trained in spiritual healing, would come to their house and treat Shazia with spiritual healing. When Iqbal Bhai came that evening, I told him that today was his healing test and explained the whole case to him. After a while, Shazia's father arrived, and I sent Iqbal Bhai with him. About half an hour later, he returned after performing the healing, looking quite happy and confident, and then described in detail the reactions and effects he observed in the girl and her family during the healing. 2 or 3 days later, Shazia's father visited us again and highly praised Iqbal Bai, saying that ever since your friend performed the spiritual healing, Shazia had not had another episode and was very happy. Whenever we met after that, he would always say that his daughter was completely fine. Then, for quite some time, we did not meet. About 2 years later, he came to us for some medicine for a cold and cough. We asked why I hadn't seen him for so long, and he explained that they had moved far from the area, which made it difficult to visit. We inquired about Shazia, and he said, "Thank Allah, since that day my daughter has never had another episode." Here I have only written about one incident of spiritual healing performed by our friend Iqbal Bai, but in reality, he has successfully performed spiritual healing for many people and achieved astonishing results, which often surprised even him.
Case of the Milkman. One of my students, Ghulam Nabi, shared that in his neighborhood there is a milkman named Hasan who spent 150,000 rupees to learn Samda healing from Dr. Samad. Despite this, Hasan suffered from a persistent headache for a long time. Neither medicine nor Samda healing brought relief. Ghulam Nabi introduced himself as a practitioner of Najmi Healing Energy, Najmi Shifai Tawanai, Najmi Heilenergie. Hasan then invited him to demonstrate his healing. Ghulam Nabi performed 10 minutes of Najmi Healing Energy, and within that short time, Hasan's headache completely disappeared, leaving him astonished.